Very good morning to all. Just continue with the daily 5 questions for NEET 2026. Okay. So first question today, if we can read, a projectile is fired from the ground with an initial speed of V0, makes an angle 30 degree with the horizontal, air resistance is negligible. At a point in its trajectory where its velocity makes an angle of 45 degrees with the horizontal, the speed is found to be V0 by root 2. What is the initial angle of projection theta? Okay. So this is a simple question of projectile motion. So this is the point of projection. So it is given in the problem. This speed is V naught, okay, and this angle is theta. So ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ project ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ velocity V naught ಇದೆ. This angle is theta. Now this horizontal component is V naught x is equal to V naught cos theta. Vertical component will be V naught y is equal to V naught sin theta. So after time t, air resistance is negligible. At some point here it is given that the speed is V naught by 2. Okay, so here also ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎರಡು components ಇರುತ್ತಾವೆ. One is V naught x and this is V naught y. You can call it as some V naught y dash. Okay, this will be different. And this angle is given to be V naught by root 2. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ velocity V naught by root 2 ಇದೆ. And it is given that idu angle they have given. This angle is 45 degrees. Makes an angle, velocity makes an angle of andre e velocity v naught by 2 at this point of time. It 45 degree ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ with the horizontal, that is v naught x. So we have to find this angle of projection. This theta is equal to how much? Okay. So here we have to understand one thing. In projectile motion, the horizontal component of velocity remains unchanged. So horizontal velocity v naught x is equal to v naught cos theta will be same at this point also. Okay, so at this point also, this v naught x will be equal to v naught cos theta, and the velocity is v naught by root 2. Okay, if you take the horizontal component of this velocity, okay, e velocity the now horizontal component togondra, it will be v naught by 2 cos 45. Okay, e component horizontal should be equal to v naught x, and v naught x we know it is v naught cos theta, correct? So ಇದೆರಡು cancel ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Now cos 45 is 1 by root 2. So 1 by root 2 into 1 by root 2 is equal to cos theta. So 1 by root 2 into 1 by root 2 is half. So cos theta value half ಆಗಿದ್ರೆ theta will be equal to 60 degrees. So it is option number B. Okay. एक second question ನೋಡೋಣ. In a YDSC, Young's double slit experiment, monochromatic light of wavelength lambda produces an interference pattern on a screen placed at a distance capital D from the slits which are separated by distance D. The entire apparatus is immersed in a liquid of refractive index mu. What will happen to the fringe width beta and Y? Okay. See, YDSC setup, okay, the whole YDSC setup, if we put it in water, or if you put in a liquid of refractive index mu, okay, the entire setup liquid ಒಳಗೆ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, wavelength will decrease first. So wavelength in the liquid will be equal to lambda divided by mu. Okay, now what is lambda? Lambda is wavelength in air. This is wavelength in air, and mu is the refractive index of the medium. Okay, so wavelength decrease ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Okay, so if wavelength decreases, what will happen to the fringe width? See, we know fringe width formula is beta is equal to lambda capital D by small d. Correct? ಇಲ್ಲಿ d change ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, small d ನು change ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. only lambda is changing. Okay, so beta fringe width when it is put in water will be equal to lambda L, capital D by D. Okay. Now see lambda L, just put this value here, E lambda L ಇಲ್ಲಿ substitute ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಿ. So what you get? Lambda D upon mu D. Okay, E part, if you just look at this part, lambda D by D, this is nothing but it is beta, right? This is beta in air divided by mu. So beta fringe width when the apparatus is put in water, fringe width will decrease by an amount of mu. ಅಂದ್ರೆ initially air ಒಳಗೆ fringe width beta ಇದ್ರೆ ಈಗ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ beta divided by mu. So fringe width ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. Okay. So if you just check all the options, beta decreases by a factor of mu because wavelength becomes lambda by mu. Beta becomes 0. This is not correct. Beta remains same. Beta increase decreases by a factor of mu. A option is correct. Okay. So option A. Okay, we'll take the next question. Okay. In electrostatics, a conducting solid sphere is given a charge capital plus Q. Small uncharged conducting hollow spherical shell is brought near it without touching. Which statement best describes the final distribution of charges once they are brought in contact and then separated far apart? Okay. So question again put it there. There are two spheres. Okay. See, this is one sphere. Okay. ಇದರ ಮೇಲೆ charge is plus Q. ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ಸ್ಪೇರ್ ಇದೆ ಸಿಮಿಲರ್ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಕಂಡಕ್ಟಿಂಗ್. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಅನ್ಚಾರ್ಜ್ಡ್. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಒನ್ಸ್ ಈಗ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ, ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾವಿಂಗ್ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ 0 ನಾವು Q is 0. ಓಕೆ, ಈಗ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ, ಇಬ್ರು both the spheres are brought into contact. Okay, so this was Q and this is 0. We know the property of charges. If two bodies touch each other, charge will get distributed equally. Okay, ಈಗ ಟಚ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಸೆಪರೇಟ್ ಆದಮೇಲೆ what will happen, the charge on each, charge on this will be Q by 2 and charge on this also will be Q by 2. Charge will be equally distributed. That's a simple property of charge. Okay, so options ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ all charge remains on the initially charged sphere because both the objects end up with charge plus Q by 2 because this. Okay, B is correct. I think the smaller object gets more, charge remains. No, B is correct. So option B, charge will get distributed equally amongst both the spheres. Okay, fourth question ನೋಡೋಣ. We'll see the fourth question. A concave mirror forms an image of a real object placed beyond its center of curvature. Suppose mirror is now placed in water. Okay, again immersed in water. While the object and image remain in water, how are the mirror formula and focal length affected? See, mirror formula. Okay, see, mirror is used for reflection, right? Reflection phenomenon. Okay, reflection phenomenon is independent of the medium. Okay, reflection does not depend on the medium. The law of reflection ಏನಿದೆಲ್ಲ, angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection. It does not depend on medium. Okay, so mirror formula remains valid. Okay, the mirror formula ಏನು change ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. Okay, next is focal length f. Okay, see now focal length of the mirror is equal to r by 2, right? Mirror focal length is r by 2, whereas r is the radius of curvature. So this is a property, this is a geometrical property, okay, of the mirror. So it is not a property of the medium. Okay, so f also remains same. F also remains same. So nothing will happen to the image and the object. Okay, so neither the reflection is affected nor focal length. Focal length change ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ನೀವು ನೀರಾಗ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರು ಅದು ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಉಳಿತದೆ, ಮೊದಲೆಷ್ಟು ಇರ್ತದೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಉಳಿತದೆ. Okay, so ಏನು change ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. So the option will be mirror formula remains valid with the same focal length because reflection is independent of medium. This is correct. Option A is correct. Okay, other options, focal length changes to illa, mirror formula fails because no focal length changes. A is the correct option. Okay, Again, this is a conceptual question, concept based question. Okay, so fifth question ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋಣ. We'll take the last question today, fifth question. A cylinder of mass m, radius capital R, rolls without slipping on a horizontal surface. Center of mass has a speed v. What is the total kinetic energy of the cylinder? See, it's a rolling cylinder, right? So when a body is rolling, okay, a rolling body, it will have both linear velocity as well as angular velocity. So because of that reason, it will have two types of kinetic energies. So either total kinetic energy will be equal to Ke translational plus Ke rotational. Okay. एक translational kinetic energy is simply half mv square. Rotational kinetic energy formula is half I omega square. Okay. ಈಗ I ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ, I is moment of inertia about the axis passing through center of mass. Okay. Now it is given that it rolls without slipping. Okay. So without slipping, for without slipping condition, if you remember, it is omega is equal to v by r. Okay, this is the condition for without slipping. So is omega ಇಲ್ಲಿ substitute ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ನಾವು. Next, I is the moment of inertia of a cylinder. Okay, moment of inertia of the cylinder about its center of mass axis. This is equal to mr square by 2. Okay, so if you just put this in this equation, total kinetic energy will be equal to half m v square plus half mr square by 2 into another omega. Okay, so omega is v by r. Omega square we can write it as v square by r square. Okay, so this r square is gone. Now you just see it is half mv square plus 1 by 4 mv square. Okay, half plus 1/4, ಅರ್ಧ ಮತ್ತು 1/4 will be 3 by 4. Half plus 1/4 is 3 by 4 mv square. So total kinetic energy will be 3 by 4 mv square. Okay, options, if you just check the options, mv square 3 by 4. Okay, here we have B. Option B is the correct option. Okay.